Superman is a character trope that has exploded in popularity over the last 10 or so years. There's something about a superhero using their power for evil instead of good that fascinates audiences. There are many characters who follow this archetype, and what's interesting is that each of them is evil for different reasons. Let's get three of the most popular examples: Homelander, Omni-Man, and Superman from the Injustice games. All of them are evil, but for very different motivations. Let's start with Omni-Man. Nolan is, first and foremost, a warrior. Whatever crimes he committed, he did them in the name of the empire he served. Indoctrinated from birth, it's no surprise that he was so dedicated to his mission. Omni-Man's ultimate goal was simple: conquest, taking control of Earth for the Viltrum Empire. Homelander, however, is different. He never truly wanted to conquer.
Can Viltrumites beat Saiyans? Can Viltrumites beat Saiyans? Let me know what y'all think in the chat and in the comments. Me? I don't think so.
Or rule the world, even though he attempted it at certain points.
Damn.
Keep in mind, this is the comic book version of Homelander, who is quite different from his television counterpart. While the show portrays him as a complete sociopath, in the comics he's more of a narcissistic celebrity, who only really cares about two things: money and power. For most of the comic run, Homelander's trying to live his life as an arrogant celebrity who always gets what he wants. In fact, most of the truly horrific acts attributed to him were actually committed by Black Noir in his name, and Homelander only truly snapped after being manipulated by everyone around him. Finally, there's Superman from the Injustice games. Once a hero not much different from his Prime counterpart, he descended into becoming a dictator. Unlike the other two, his goal was noble: to establish order. But it was the methods he used that made him a villain. He restricted people's freedom and eradicated all opposition so he could rule Earth as an absolute authority. So, we have three similar characters with very distinct motives: conquest, power, and the desire.
Out of these three, the evil Superman, Omni-Man, and Homelander, who do y'all got? Of course, everybody's gonna say Superman, right? I feel like Superman is like fucking like he's out of here compared to them. Like Superman just got so many. He's just all around. He might be one of the most. Well, I know he's one of the most, but he might be the most powerful superhero.
To impose
Let me know what y'all
order.
think.
In theory, they can be reasoned with. After all, one of them even had a full redemption arc, but the same can't be said about the main star of today's video. A character so evil that he truly can't be reasoned with. A villain who's genuinely irredeemable. The Plutonian. You see, the Plutonian never cared about money, conquest, or fame. He simply sought to inflict as much pain as possible. He has the highest kill count among all the characters mentioned today, having to...
Has anybody else ever heard of him? I haven't heard of the Plutonian before. I haven't heard of him, but I'm sure they're going to get in depth with this.
Destroyed not just entire cities, but entire countries, killing tens of millions.
Damn.
The very first thing we see the Plutonian do is murder the entire family of another superhero, sparing no one. His actions cause global panic and the collapse of world governments. In his comic book series Irredeemable, writer Mark Waid created perhaps one of the most interesting evil Superman characters ever conceived. If you're familiar with Waid's work, you know he's something of a Superman fanboy. After all, he wrote Kingdom Come and Birthright, two of the most beloved Superman stories of all time. He understands the character deeply, and that understanding is clearly reflected in Irredeemable. In today's video, we'll explore the story of the Plutonian, his origin, his superhero career, and what ultimately made him snap. This guy's probably one of the pettiest and most evil characters in fiction, so you might want to stick around until the end. So without further delay, let's explore Irredeemable.
Is he a superhero or a supervillain?
Part
I say
1.
hello, what the fuck?
Origin and the early days. What makes the Plutonian interesting is that he wasn't originally a villain. He used to be the most beloved and trusted superhero in the entire world. For the longest time, no one knew his origin or even his true identity. He was distrusted by both the public and his fellow superheroes. They referred to him as Tony, and as we later learned, this was just one of his aliases, as his real name was known to very few. While he appeared to be a complete Boy Scout on the surface, deep underneath he hid his true self. Part 1.
Who is that guy behind him? I'm sorry, I had to run that back.
What makes the Plutonian interesting is that he wasn't originally a villain. He used to be the most beloved and trusted superhero in the entire world. For the longest time, no one knew his origin or even his true identity. He was distrusted by both the public and his fellow superheroes. They referred to him as Tony,
Look.
and as we later learned, this was just one of his aliases.
Who is the black guy? Is that Montel Jordan? Michael Jordan? That maybe Michael Jordan. Who is this black guy? Who is this black man? Blade? Like the not the Wesley Snipes, the what's my man with the bald head, Sticky Fingers? What's the dude name that played Blade? I don't know who could this guy be? Arca- Let's
as
continue.
his real name was known to very few. While he appeared to be a complete Boy Scout on the surface, deep underneath he hid his true self, a traumatized kid who craved validation. Throughout his childhood, the Plutonian's emerging powers made his life difficult. He went from one foster family to another, unable to find a true home, as each new parent eventually became terrified of his abilities. He recalls that his earliest memory was being fed up with how others perceived him and escaping into a forest near the city of Colville. There, he became something of an urban legend known as Wolf Boy. One of the local teenagers sought him out, and when he actually found the Plutonian, he was attacked and sent to the hospital. Unknown to them both, that teenager would one day become Max Damage, a supercriminal and one of the Plutonian's greatest enemies. The Plutonian notes that this was the first time he felt rage, which was followed by another emotion, mortification. He later crash-landed into a church and was soon adopted by a couple who were unable to conceive a child of their own. Unfortunately, he wouldn't stay with that family for long. He was adopted at 5.5 and returned to foster care shortly after turning 7. At some point, his adoptive parents finally managed to conceive a child of their own, whom they named Joey and referred to as a miracle.
Wow.
When the baby was brought home from the hospital, the young Plutonian begged his parents to let him hold him. When he did, he squeezed the baby too hard, leaving Joey with permanent mental and physical damage.
Wow.
He was confined to a wheelchair and unable to form basic sentences, requiring constant care. His experience with the next foster family turned out to be even worse.
This nigga held his foster baby brother and broke his spinal, nigga. What? Are you kidding me?
He loved his mother, his father was an aggressive man who frequently abused his wife. After witnessing the abuse, Plutonian blasted his father, killing him. He then hugged his mother, saying that this time he would stand his ground and not allow her to send him back to the orphanage.
He's unaliving all his parents, bro. Every foster care he goes to, he's unaliving people. What is up with this guy? He's unaliving people every foster care he goes to. Like,
Tried to shower her with
okay,
love,
all right.
believing that would stop her from fearing him, but it didn't work. She was completely terrified of him and became increasingly
this
depressed and
nigga!
fell on over time. While Plutonian was at school, he overheard his foster mother talking with his super hearing. She spoke about how terrified she was, and the conversation was followed by the click of a gun. The Plutonian rushed home, something he could do in less than a second, but sound travels slower. By the time he arrived, his mother was already dead. Let's move to his last foster family, the only one.
What? She was so scared of this nigga, she offed herself. But it's like, why? That like you're scared of him offing you, so you off yourself. It's like, what the? That doesn't even make any. That don't make no fucking sense.
Plutonian truly considered important.
He's going to
He was
another
adopted
family.
by Bill
Oh my
Hardigan,
gosh.
the only parent who didn't fear him. In fact, Bill seemed excited by his abilities. The Plutonian described him as the most generous man alive, always helping neighbors and people in need. At this point, he went by the name Dan Hardigan. While loving,
This
Bill
nigga
was also
had,
very
like, 4
stern,
names.
believing that discipline was crucial for a child like Dan. He punished him for lying and tried to instill strong values in him. On Christmas, when Dan received a gift he really wanted, Bill made him wrap it back up and donate it to children in a hospital instead. Bill also helped him train and control his powers. When he believed Dan was ready, Bill proposed an idea. His son would become a superhero known as the Plutonian, an acronym standing for piety, loyalty, utility, truthfulness, and order. Bill insisted that he wouldn't wear a mask so he could earn people's trust. He even got him a job at a radio station, explaining that he should maintain a civilian life as well. During the conversation, Bill mentioned that Dan would make both him and his mother proud, but the Plutonian simply replied, "Not mother." He revealed that she had an inoperable tumor and that he had watched it grow using his powers. When asked why he hadn't said anything earlier, he responded that they should put their own concerns last, just as his father had taught him. A week later, both Bill and his wife died in a car accident on their way back from the hospital. Despite the loss, Dan followed his father's teachings and became a superhero.
What the fuck just happened? This nigga said nothing about his mom, his third foster mom. He said nothing about his third foster mom's tumor that's growing in her brain. And then they didn't even get unalive for that. They got unalive driving home from the hospital. Bro, what the fuck? What kind of fucking backstory is this? This is
his
crazy.
First public appearance.
Who is this nigga?
During an air show, disaster struck and two planes collided. One of the pilots died instantly, but the other could still have been saved. That's when the Plutonian arrived. He pulled the pilot from the cockpit, but realized he had made a rookie mistake. He hadn't considered that the plane would crash into the crowd and kill dozens of people.
Nigga!
Save the pilot or abandon him.
This nigga might be the worst superhero in history. What?
And save the crowd. In the end, he managed to do both by unjamming the pilot's parachute. The Plutonian later remarked that this was the first time in his life he felt appreciated. For once, he wasn't feared.
Yeah, because you actually helped somebody. You fucking
The event was recorded by the press, and the Plutonian became a celebrity overnight. He continued being a superhero, maintaining a Boy Scout image. But throughout his career, he wasn't driven by a desire to save people. He craved the public's love and affection, and any form of criticism hurt his ego immensely. Of the many enemies he fought, two stand out: the aforementioned Max Damage and Modius, his arch-nemesis. Max Damage is an interesting villain. Though he grew up in a privileged family, he had a difficult relationship with his parents and eventually turned to a life of crime. At some point, he gained superpowers through a laboratory experiment. He became invulnerable and super strong, and his strength increased the longer he stayed awake. However, whenever he slept, his powers reset, rendering him powerless for 1 hour. He could stay awake for long periods and become incredibly strong, but he would also grow disoriented and fatigued from lack of sleep. As a side effect of his powers, Max Damage lost most of his physical senses and couldn't feel pain. During one of his robberies, he was stopped by the Plutonian, who immediately recognized him as the teenager he had attacked years ago. The Plutonian hated Max because he was the first victim of his outburst, and every time he fought him, he felt the same shame he had experienced in childhood. Another villain the Plutonian fought was Modius, his true archenemy. The Plutonian admitted he never understood Modius's motivations. He was a super genius with one of the brightest minds on the planet, yet also deeply psychotic. Other criminals had clear motivations: money, power, fear, but Modius had none. He specifically targeted the Plutonian to make his life miserable and rarely, if ever, went after other superheroes. At some point, Modius vanished without explanation, and not even the Plutonian knew where he had gone. While fighting another villain at a charity event, the Plutonian met his future lover. During the chaos, a woman named Alana helped evacuate civilians. This impressed the Plutonian, who praised her actions and asked her out on a date. The moment was captured by reporters, and Alana became a minor celebrity. Despite the attention, she kept a low profile and continued working at a radio station, unaware that her coworker, Dan Hardigan, was actually the Plutonian. One day, Dan revealed his identity to her, but didn't get the reaction he expected. Alana lashed out, saying she had been lied to and humiliated throughout their relationship. Other co-workers at the station overheard the argument and, realizing Dan was the Plutonian, foolishly decided to—
Can you ever make a woman happy? This nigga just told his girl that he's a superhero and she cussed him the fuck out. Bitch! I'm a literal god. What more do you want from me? Like, what? Like, goddamn.
Announce it on the radio. Before the broadcast could go out, the Plutonian rushed to the satellite and destroyed it. When he returned, he scolded his co-workers, saying their lives were now worthless. They possessed the most guarded secret on Earth, and countless villains would hunt them down to extract it. As Alana later recalled, all of her co-workers eventually died. Some took their own lives, others died from overdoses. Despite the incident, the Plutonian was willing to forgive Alana, but she rejected him. saying she didn't even know who he really was.
Oh my
After this, the Plutonian
god,
abandoned
this bitch is like, damn. Can she be happy? She can't even be happy. Leave this hoe,
in his
bro.
Dan
No
Hardigan
wonder he turned
identity.
evil.
The rise of the Plutonian also inspired other heroes to
Jesus.
emerge, some of them united to form a team. To earn the public's trust, the Plutonian made the announcement in front of the White House, delivering a speech and introducing his new team. He named the team Paradigm, not because they were above everyone else, but because they would hold themselves to the highest moral standards.
Okay.
Members of the team included Qubit, a super genius who could manipulate technology and strictly followed a no-kill rule. Hornet, a vigilante with no superpowers but a brilliant tactical mind.
Batman.
Twins Scylla and Carrie, who wielded energy-based powers.
Wonder Twins.
Betty Noir, a vigilante with uncanny aim and specialized gravity bullets.
Black Widow.
Gilgamos, an immortal winged man similar to Hawkman from DC, and Volt,
Hawkman.
a black superhero with
Volt,
electric
that's
powers
his
who was
name.
also heart and soul of the team. And
And he
Kion,
got- oh, nah,
a
then he got
Japanese
a
hero who
shiesty
could
on?
summon powerful spirits from folklore through storytelling,
Oh.
among
What?
several other less prominent members. Together, they fought villains and alien invaders.
So this hoe tell
Qubit
a
invented
story?
teleportation technology, allowing the team to travel across the universe and help other worlds, insisting they shouldn't limit themselves to Earth. At this point, the Plutonian went by Tony and grew close to his teammates. Around this time, he was joined by Samsara, a young superhero who looked up to him and became his sidekick and apprentice. Samsara possessed a magical gem that granted him powers and protected him from mortal harm. The Plutonian grew fond of Samsara, appreciating both his loyalty and the admiration he received from him. Part 2. Plutonian Snaps.
What the fuck?
While happy as a superhero, this happiness wouldn't last. As mentioned many times in this video, the Plutonian's heroism was driven by his need for approval, not genuine concern for humanity. As a result, any bit of criticism hurt his ego immensely.
He's a
With
bitch.
his super hearing, he would often hear people make fun of him. While most of the time he restrained himself, there were moments when he
Bro,
lashed
the
out.
underwear
The
pervert.
Plutonian especially hated when people were demanding, believing that what he was already doing was more than enough.
Oh, nah.
His breaking point came during an incident involving the scientist named Dr. Seabrook. After Paradigm fought off another alien invasion, some scientists criticized the team for not sharing the alien technology. Qubit, the most intelligent member of the team, insisted that the technology was too advanced and dangerous, comparing sharing it to giving monkeys a hand grenade. Despite this, one of the scientists, Dr. Seabrook, continued speaking out. He frequently targeted the Plutonian, calling him selfish. It reached a point where no one could praise the hero without Seabrook responding with an insult. While his teammates dismissed Seabrook as just another populist, the Plutonian followed him closely. Sick and tired of the constant criticism, Tony decided to act. He visited Dr. Seabrook and shared a piece of alien technology, believing the scientist promised that it would benefit mankind. Seabrook was given some kind of sound-based device, which Tony believed to be safe. As a failsafe, he also gave Seabrook an SOS device that could summon him. It would emit a sound he could hear from anywhere on Earth. Before leaving, he asked Seabrook not to tell anyone about the meeting. Sometime later, during a routine patrol with a teammate, the Plutonian rescued a sailor. When the man asked him to fix the ship as well, Tony lashed out, saying he didn't owe him anything. At that moment, he was exhausted by the constant cries for help he heard through his super hearing. Overwhelmed, he flew to the moon for a few moments of peace. He stayed there for no more than 10 minutes, but when he returned
he
and
can breathe in
re-entered Earth's
space.
atmosphere, he realized his mistake. Seabrook had used the SOS device to call him while he was on the moon. The technology he had shared turned out to be catastrophic, emitting an airborne virus that killed thousands of children. The Plutonian insisted on handling the situation alone,
Nigga!
and his team intervened and cleared the virus before it could spread further.
This nigga F tier superhero.
Tony's involvement remained unknown to both the public
He
and
should-
his teammates,
he probably
but
would be
some
better as a
researchers
villain.
were aware of it.
Like, what the fuck
Seeing
is
that the
up with this guy?
Plutonian wasn't admitting his involvement, they were too afraid to confront him directly and instead contacted Samsara. Sam learned about the Plutonian's involvement, hearing that Tony shared a technology and didn't bother checking if it was dangerous. He asked his mentor whether his scientists were telling the truth. When the Plutonian denied it, Samsara knew he was lying and expressed his disappointment. In response, the enraged Plutonian blasted Samsara's head with his heat vision,
What?
effectively lobotomizing him.
Bro, what the fuck is going on with this dude, bro? Who the fuck is this guy, bro? What is going on here, bro? I'm not understanding. Look, bro, y'all, I swear. Look, I gotta be somewhere in just a second. Yo, stay tuned for the next time, part two, bro. We're gonna finish this thing out next time. Yo, I appreciate y'all staying. This nigga Plutonian sucks. Like, no wonder I've never heard him be a superhero. This mother, he fucking sucks. It's like what? Yeah, he is worse than Omni-Man and Homelander already. The nigga has only done like maybe 3 super villain acts, and he's already worse. Like, get him the fuck out of here. Like, get this guy out of here, bro. Get him out of here. Peace, y'all. I holler.